Hello, everyone. Hope you all are having a great day today. And with you today is Modesta. I am head of finance and research, and also Pedro, who's senior blockchain analyst. So, Pedro, how are you doing today?
Hello, Modesta. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Hope you enjoy the holiday season. Feels good to be back. And yeah, happy to talk about today's behavior report. Yeah.
Great to hear that. Yes, and just before we start, there's one actually thing that I want to elaborate with you guys is that. Today, two participants will be rewarded with 10 BUSD per each. Of course, if you raise a good question, we will going to pick those two users and so participate, be active, think of the questions and go ahead and raise them.
Yeah, correct. We'll be talking about the blockchain user behavior report. And well, this is a set of reports that we put together. We're trying to provide users with a different perspective of what's happening in the blockchain industry. We try to combine traditional behavioral finance analytics with blockchain metrics to see which are the patterns that are forming based on the behavior of our users. So it's interesting and important to understand what's happening in the industry, what patterns are forming, and see what the latest trends might end up being.
Yeah.
So, for example, the first thing that we notice is the number of unique active wallets is increasing. We see already 2.5 million unique active wallets, which represents a 700% increase from what we saw at this point this last year. Sorry. So the industry as a whole is growing 700% based just in the number of unique active wallets, which this is an on-chain metric, and we will be diving deeper into more of these analyses.
Yes. Well, of course, industry metrics looks great. But it's not only what we also look into this report, we also, to make this report even more interesting, we also combine DappRadar statistics. As you may know, is the leading world app store. And at the end of 2021, we're generating around 1.4 million monthly unique visits. And just to elaborate more, not only the blockchain space saw this increase in usage, we also saw increase in users that are coming and visiting the page. If to compare on with year-on-year growth, we see more than 1,000 growth, which says a lot of things about where we're heading and how this whole industry is becoming bigger and more interesting, and also emphasize the need basically to take a look at what the most recent trends we see in the blockchain space.
Yeah, correct. And well, without further ado, let's start to talk about the behavior report. And as you said, Modesta, we used DappRadar's metrics and statistics to make an idea of what's happening around. And one thing that it's quite interesting to start highlighting is the increasing presence of the Asian market. For the first time in more than 10 months, China is back again as the main source of traffic. For the previous 10 or 12 months, it was the United States who was the leading nation in terms of traffic. But we're now seeing a push from the Asian market as a whole. China is leading, but we also saw an important increase in Indonesia and India, which of course this region is quite engaged with the play to earn narrative and the metaverse as well. So these are important things to consider going forward. The United States, of course, a big market for NFTs, but the Southeast Asia region and Asia in general, very interested in play to earn and blockchain games as a whole. Another thing that is quite interesting is the age. If we analyze the age of our users, we see that more than, well, almost 70% of the traffic is coming from millennials and the generation Z, which basically is people from 38 years old to the lower barrier. So this is also interesting. Why? Because these people is invested and very interested in, for example, blockchain games, and of course all the digital transformation that we are currently seeing in our daily lives. So of course this is bullish for the blockchain industry as a whole going forward. And it's interesting to see that we are aligned with the global trends, that the millennials and the Generation Z are becoming more and more empowered, more and more involved in the industry, which is, of course, a great thing to see. And finally, another demographic insight that we perceived was that the presence of desktops is actually decreasing, as what we could see. And this is also important. Probably users, I'm included, see desktop wallets, for instance, as more secure devices than mobile wallets. But mobile wallets are going to be important going forward. Also, blockchain games that are played on mobiles are going to be relevant in 2022. So the mobile device being more and more used is also aligned with what we are seeing with the global trends, and what we can expect as an important trend consolidating in 2022.
Well, it definitely is, and yes, this is actually a very great insight that comes, from the overall look. But to better understand, what is actually happening with the categories or different markets such as NFTs, games, or DeFi, of course, we need just to take a look into those three key categories. And another thing important that, we all spot that happened in the crypto space, which is really usually related to the blockchain space too, is that there was a sort of crash of cryptocurrencies. And one trend we were eager to analyze is how this crash affected, the behavior of the users per each category. And if to deep dive into NFTs space, first of all, we see that it seems that NFTs prove to be more resistant from cryptocurrency effect, let's say, than compared to the DeFi. And if we look into the unique active wallets growth, first of all, looking quarter-on-quarter growth, we see that right now there is a 43% increase quarter-on-quarter. But what is also important to know, if we look into December activity compared to the current January activity when it comes to NFTs, we see that there is 20% increase in usage, which says a lot about basically NFTs being more resistant, and basically NFT space was continuously growing and still continuously growing in January. What is also worth to know that if Pedro mentioned that China became a key driver of the space, it seems. When it goes to NFTs, the United States is still the most active region. So this is something important to note, which is, I think, not surprising at all, because NFTs overall, especially some collections, is still relatively expensive. On the other hand, it's also worth to note that the trading volumes also didn't collapse, although the cryptocurrencies saw the downward trend at the end of December and at the beginning of January. Where we spot that on average in January on daily basis, there was more than 160,000 in trading volume, and the growth, if to compare with the average daily trading volumes back in December, was 60%, which is actually quite remarkable increase, isn't it, Pedro?
Yeah, I mean, the NFTs are becoming more and more like an independent economical force. We see macroeconomic events affecting cryptocurrencies. We're talking about the Omicron COVID surge, the Fed's imminent intention to raise interest rates as soon as March, and the natural gas issues that are affecting Kazakhstan, which of course hosts around 20% of Bitcoin's mining activity. So these macroeconomic events affect cryptocurrencies as a whole. But what we are seeing in NFTs is that they behave kind of independently. They do have their own macroeconomic events, like all the celebrities that are aping into the space, they're trying to become part of these projects. The utilities that are becoming more and more evident on these NFTs. So they're becoming more independent from probably slumps in the crypto space. So it's nice to see the NFT space consolidate as an entity itself. On the other hand, what we see in DeFi is a complete different story. DeFi, of course, it has a tight relation with cryptocurrencies by the nature, of course, how stable coins can be used, of course, the collaterals, the lending, etc. So what we see is DeFi is strongly related to cryptocurrencies, whereas NFTs and games are not. Um, so I don't know if there is anything else that we need to add in NFTs before jumping into DeFi. Because I was rushing a bit into DeFi, but probably Modesta, you want to say anything else about NFTs? Sorry.
Yes, of course. So just maybe one thing, just like a quick summary. Well, we basically see that NFT space is still resistant to the global trends of cryptocurrencies. And well, we see the growth, which is very exciting for this industry. And well, basically, it's a great performance for the NFT space overall. But there's another thing I want to include in this topic of the behavior report, which is, as I think, it's just really, really important just to take a look into the most current activities that were driving the NFT space, especially in the past couple of days. And what I mean by that is the new launch of LuxRare, which is a marketplace, something similar. If you didn't hear about it, this is something similar. What OpenSea suggests for the users, you can trade your NFTs there. And although this is not entirely related with the trading volumes that I elaborated before, because we were looking only into the activity before the 10th of January, which, as I said, it seems that NFT space is growing. LuxRare marketplace really made some interesting change in how you can call in behavior, how these users behave. So it basically showed, how easy you can change, the flow of usage from one platform to another. And it, of course, was basically enforced from the launch of a Lux token, which and basically the platform itself, which basically rewards the users to trade on the platform. Usually these rewards sometimes has I cannot say this is a negative effect, but it has some effect on the way these wallets tends to interact with the platforms. And what I mean here is, and I want to touch the topic of the wash trading. And for those who don't know the concept, basically wash trading means that, let's say, the owner of NFTs is selling the item to himself to a couple of times just to stimulate the price hike, also stimulate the increase in trading volume. And this is what happened, what we see on LuxRare platform, because users who, basically generates most of the volume are rewarded with the Lux token or tokens on daily basis. And if to look into the 24 hours, volumes, we see that LuxRare generated at least more than 3 times than OpenSea. On the other hand, you can suspect that these volumes most likely were generated by a couple of traders, because if looking into the same period of time for the traders, there were only more than 2,000 traders on LuxRare platform. And if to compare with the OpenSea, which is according to 24 hours results, it's right now second when it comes to the trading volume. The platform had more than 65,000 traders within the last 24 hours. So once again, it's really, really important, to catch the trends, and it's also important for the industry because it shows how can you easily, with a new platform, with a new incentive program, you can change the flow. You can change, the way these basically these users interact with the platform. And this is not something new. We saw that back in 2020 when the Rarible platform was launched, and we also had the incentive program for the, let's say, biggest traders. And it also spiked, increased interest just for the traders to join, to do, repeat something similar what we see right now in the LuxRare, and generally impressive results. Of course, it was more of momentum, because back then in 2020, Rarible surpassed OpenSea. Also, like we see LuxRare are surpassing OpenSea right now. Just I think, as far as I recall, it was just for 2 months. And after the reward system, incentive system was, basically it's not because of the reward system was finalized, more because that Rarible platform introduced fees for the platform, which basically helped to normalize the trading activity. And yeah, we see right now, we saw in 2021 Rarible was not the number one. Yeah, so this is something I wanna elaborate more. This is something that DappRadar takes a look into deeper, just to basically try to aggregate the trading volumes and try to really understand why this trading volumes happening in the recent couple of days. Yeah, so Pedro, do you wanna add something to this topic, or you wanna go to the DeFi?
I mean, I'd just like to add that it's something relevant that we need to, we need to discuss what's going to happen, but definitely something that it's affecting, not necessarily negative, but something that affects the industry. And as you said, DappRadar identifies these types of activities. So yeah, important to take this into consideration.
So what is interesting, what kind of trends, do we see the same trends in DeFi space as in NFT space? Do we see the growth?
Yeah, actually, the DeFi is quite correlated to cryptocurrencies, of course, due to its nature. We run what we call a correlation analysis, where basically we compare macroeconomical variables that affect cryptocurrencies, of course, the price of certain assets like ETH, SOL, or BNB, and certain indicators like the Bitcoin Sphere and Grid Index, which is a scale from 0 to 100 that measures the sentiment across trading patterns. So we compared those with on-chain metrics like the number of unique active wallets connected to DeFi dApps, or in the other hand, compared to unique active wallets compared to NFT dApps or game dApps. And what we see is a clear correlation between cryptocurrencies and DeFi. Where the pattern, when we started the bearish trend in cryptocurrencies, we clearly see a decline in the usage of DeFi. Not only in metrics like the total value lock, which of course relates definitely one-to-one to the price of a certain underlying asset, but the usage is something that can be used as a matter of measure to see the real impact that cryptocurrencies generate in other spaces like DeFi. So when we extrapolate and we correlate variables that affect the price of an asset to the usage of certain DeFi dApps, for example, in Solana, we compare the price of SOL with the usage of DeFi dApps in Solana. We're talking about Radium, Saber, Sony, etc. We see a clear decrease. Unfortunately, we cannot show you images, But once, if you have 5,000 Radar tokens, you can see it as a pro user. If not, you will need to wait a couple of days when the report is public. But you will see the graphs where the price of Sol clearly relates to the DeFi activity in Solana. We do the same exercise for NFTs, and there is no correlation at all. The price of Sol does not relate at all with the NFT activity, which of course give us the idea that NFTs are less sensitive to cryptocurrency changes or other macroeconomic events than the price itself that is affecting DeFi dApps. The same exercise we ran for Ethereum, and again the price of ETH and the gas price of Ethereum directly affects the usage in DeFi dApps, whereas the usage in NFTs have been only increasing. And we ran the same exercise in Binance, in BSC, with the price of BNB again decreasing significantly the activity on DeFi dApps in BSC, while the activity on games is not related at all. So again, what we take as a lesson is that games and NFTs are becoming more independent, are becoming spaces with their own macroeconomic factors, as we explained previously, whereas DeFi is tightly related to cryptocurrencies. But please make no mistake, because by no means it means that DeFi is having a slump, or actually it's the other way around. At the end of the year, when we release our yearly report, we measured an all-time high of DeFi near 200 billions in total value locked, which is simply impressive. So of course, DeFi is undergoing a maturity phase. A lot of blockchains and alternatives are becoming more and more relevant. Avalanche, Solana, Terra, of course, they're already established DeFi players, and the ecosystem as a whole is very competitive. So what we only discover is that, yeah, as we believed, DeFi is quietly related and dependent from cryptocurrencies.
Which makes a lot of sense as you're
Of course, yeah.
Right, so as we don't have that much time left, I would like to go straight to the last category, of course, not the least category, it's one of the most exciting categories too, is basically blockchain games. So you might recall, if not, about a year ago, DeFi was the number one player when it comes to unique active wallets. And in the middle of 2021, games took over. And what we see within the current weeks or months, that blockchain games is continuously growing. And despite the recent events in the industry, which already was a couple of times already, games industry increased basically the usage and increased the gap between games and DeFi category. So yes, and so overall, what we see once again, if we get back, to this overall picture, we can state a couple of things. That NFT and games categories seem to be more resistant from some factors such as cryptocurrency increased and basically grew without any big troubles. Meanwhile, DeFi continue to be really volatile and very dependent on the cryptocurrencies, which of course really is not a big surprise. Do you want to say a couple of things, Pedro, maybe a couple of closing things to our today's talk?
No, I think you summarized it quite nicely. Just the Asian presence in the industry is growing. I also take that as a lesson, which is great for the space. And yeah, I mean, NFTs and games are becoming this type of islands within this big dApps ecosystem, and they are relying on their own macroeconomic events, which is also great. Showing signs of maturity and independence in these categories is going to be key to mass adoption in this year.
Great, thanks, Pedro. Right, so I think this is the moment where we get back to our audience. Thanks for listening. And yes, guys, if you have any questions, we are here. Go ahead, step in and raise your questions.
Yep, don't be shy. There's no thing as a silly question, so all questions are welcomed.
I see someone is raising a hand, but it's not actually entering the stage. Right. I see a law. Most of yeah. Can you go and step in into the stage? Okay, cool. Hello. Hello, how are you?
Hey, hi. Good. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Really cool presentation, guys. What I'm getting from what you guys are saying is that the number of unique wallets for blockchain gaming is higher than the number of unique wallets for DeFi. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
What percent higher would you say it is higher than DeFi?
So, for example, we ran an exercise for the yearly report, and we saw that 49% of the industry activity was coming from wallets connected to games, whereas the threshold for DeFi was around 36. Now we see that gap a bit bigger, with games representing 52 or 53% of the activity, and DeFi going down below to the low 30s. So right now the gap is already 20%. At one point in November, for instance, when we were seeing the all-time highs in AVAX, Sol, Terra, Luna, the activity coming from both ends were basically the same. Both were accounting for 40% of the industry activity, but right now, yeah, we see a almost 20% gap between both categories.
And when you say gaming, blockchain gaming, and you're separating that from NFT activity, correct? Or
Yeah. We see that those are three big categories that are isolated. NFTs, wallets connecting to NFTs means that either you're connecting to the page of a certain project, like if you need to mint, you connect your wallet to their page, and you're there, the activity is measured there, or you're connecting directly to a marketplace. So those are the sources of wallets connecting to NFTs, basically.
okay, so blockchain gaming's number one, and then followed by NFT.
No, in terms of activities, games, DeFi, and then NFTs.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Oh, we have another question, Arlo. RLO, yeah.
Hello, nice to meet you again. Nice to see you here.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for the event. My question is a bit irrelevant, but let me ask. I just want to ask this question that does DappRadar have any plan to launch dashboard for crypto data analyst for presentation crypto analytics for the community, and also use the capabilities of the users of DappRadar platform?
Not sure, Pedro, if you heard the question, but to be honest, I didn't understand the question. Can you repeat that, please? There was just like a sound noise when you were talking, so it was very difficult to understand.
Yeah, can you repeat the question, mate, please? Mr. Arlo, can you repeat the question, please? We weren't able to hear you completely. So if you ask again, please.
Yes, of course. Hello, everybody. Thanks for the event. Excuse me. Uh, uh, my voice is
Yeah,
okay.
way better, way
Yeah.
better.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Excuse me. My question is a bit relevant, but let me ask. I just want to ask this question: that does DappRadar have any plan to launch dashboard for crypto data analyzed for presentation crypto analytics for the community, and also use the capabilities of the users of DappRadar platform?
So, if to answer the first question, we do display the blockchain, let's say, related cryptocurrencies on our page already. That would help to analyze to some extent the cryptocurrencies industry. But if you elaborate more, what do you mean exactly by what kind of analysis you want to do? So maybe we can answer that question better.
Blockchain's on-chain data that is practical for the users.
So blockchain usage data, we display different kind of metrics already for the blockchain usage. So if you go to DappRadar page, you can see, rankings. Rankings represents like very general data, like transaction volumes, unique active wallets. Then you can use, if you're specifically interested into NFTs, DeFi space, or games, you can go to the dedicated page. Those page contains way more deeper insights or let's say analytics when it comes to NFTs, for example, trading volume, floor price, top sales. You can see the split by the marketplaces, by the top collections. We are looking forward to launch even more metrics. When it comes to DeFi, also you can see not only unique active wallets, but total value locked in there. And when it goes to games, it's transaction wallets, unique active wallets. So this is a very good, let's say, good place to start with. And of course, in the future, we monitoring the space. We are looking for the ways how to will also understand what is our user what needs basically, and how to make this data even better for each user to have as big the best let's say result out of this as possible. And if to answer your second part of the question, if I got it right, so you're asking if there's going to be like is there going to be any participation from the community? So yes, this is most likely a bit different topic than we're supposed to speak right now, one behavior report. But Radar token was launched because we want our community to participate, and there's like not many things that I can elaborate right now, and but like stay tuned and check out. And of course, there's going to be the ways. But even right now, we are looking, forward to. That's why basically we're doing these events. We want to understand what you're looking for, what is your needs, what do you want to see in the future. So maybe you can even elaborate yourself, and we will try to take into consideration your opinion too. What are you looking for? What do you want DappRadar to see on DappRadar in the future?
Yeah, and also for that part of the cryptocurrencies, we have like the token explorer where you can view and swap with the latest token prices, which are all up to date. You can swap tokens, and even you can add your own tokens directly to your MetaMask account from there with a single click. So also worth monitoring this DappRadar token explorer page. Very handy. I don't know, Arlo, if that does that answer your question?
We cannot really hear you. You're talking.
I guess we answered his question.
Yes, and just once again, so these live events is of course dedicated, to overview the specific report we do, the specific topic. On the other hand, always I would always invite you to raise your opinion, to ask what basically say what you think, or what do you see at DappRadar comes to data. So it is also really, really welcome. So if right now or next time you want to participate in such kind of your opinion sharing, please go ahead and do that. Right. Good. So as of now, I see there is no any other participants who want to raise the questions. So the ones who raise the question, we're going to contact you separately. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the participation. Have a great evening or day. And yes, so see you next time. Keep safe and yeah, see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.